What is going on, guys? My name is Taylor Stuber, and I'm here to break down this 7-game NBA slate on January 9th. It is a Saturday. NFL playoffs are here, but NBA is the only thing that I'm focused on, and so I'm here to give you the best possible content for Draftkings Fanduel, and of course, the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks.com. Big shout out to them. But yeah, I have a big announcement. I'm setting up a package deal right now for my content. You will receive, this is going to be the content of it, my daily player pools, cheat sheets, complete FanDuel lineups, an hour-long stream before lock, and a Discord where you can ask me questions all day. I'll post all my stuff in there, and I wanted to make it cheap, so the price is going to be completely free. All you have to do is subscribe, like this video, and then comment below with your favorite play of the day. That's your payment towards me, and then make sure to join that Discord. It's completely free. The link is below. I'm trying to give you guys the best possible content for free here. If you guys can just subscribe, show me some love on that. I'm trying to hit 100 likes on this video. I know this video is going to be up for a short amount of time, short shelf life, but I know you guys can come through with that. And make sure to join the live stream an hour before lock. Would be very, very helpful if you guys could do so. Obviously, a lot of news is going to be breaking throughout the day, and I will be giving you guys the most up-to-date information there, and then I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. So let's just jump right into this slate. Also, guys, if you guys join, which is completely free, by the way, you will get my game notes that are completely free in there for your reading pleasure. These take me a couple hours to make, and yeah, you guys can take advantage of this, get an edge over the field. We'll start with the Atlanta Hawks at the Charlotte Hornets. A 227.5 over-under. Hawks are currently 5.5-point favorites. Start with the Atlanta Hawks. We just saw this matchup the other day. But Danilo Gallinari, Chris Dunn, Rajon Rondo, Olynyk Okongwu, and are all out. Tony Snell is actually questionable. He might make his season debut. He might get into the rotation and muddy things up even more for the guards and forwards there. But we saw that Trae Young struggled mightily in this last game against the Charlotte Hornets, against the pick and roll defense that they are really, really good at employing. So this is going to lower the ownership of Trae Young. He could bounce back here at very low ownership. He has the highest rates on this team when it comes to assist percentage usage, and he's playing around 34-36 minutes in competitive games. They raised the prices on Clint Capella and John Collins to a point where I'm really not all that interested. And then Kevin Huerter, he's been closing the game and taking over Bogdanovic's role, playing over 31 minutes a game. His price has risen to 5.2K, but he's averaging 0.93 fantasy points per minute. I don't think he's the worst play on the slate, but there's a lot better values today as we go along. Move over to the Charlotte Hornets. Cody Zeller, he is out. And then LaMelo Ball, man, what can I say? If you can predict the game, if you just keep playing him, eventually he's going to play over 30 minutes. And the day that he plays over 30 minutes, he's absolutely going to break this slate and blow this price tag out of the water. So I'm going to keep on playing him in GPPs and cash games. I don't think he's necessary, or if you're playing single entry, I don't think he's necessary, but he's definitely going to be in my player pool. This year, he has a 24.8% usage rating, a 12.3 total rebound percentage, a 33.6 assist percentage, which leads the team, averaging 1.28 fantasy points per minute. Borrego rewards good play, and so if he continues to play well like this, eventually he's going to get into the starting lineup, or eventually he's just going to play 30-plus minutes. We've seen that them play for a short amount of time, but we have seen him next to Rozier and Devontae Graham. So I love LaMelo Ball in GPPs. The upside is through the roof. This dude just oozes fantasy points, and it's a fast pace-up game against the Atlanta Hawks that should be competitive. And then Gordon Hayward's really the only other guy on this team that I'm interested in. He's averaging 37.5. Whoops, I have 27 in my notes. 37.5 minutes per game. Big minutes, with a 25% usage rating, 8.8 total rebound percentage, 21.1 assist percentage, averaging 1.15 fantasy points per minute. I have him projected around 41 fantasy points, and over here on PrizePicks, he is only 37, which is a crazy projection in my opinion. I think he should be much, much higher. And if you guys have taken my prize picks plays from this video the last 2 nights, you should have cashed out. We cashed out again yesterday with Jaylen Brown and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Bradley Beal. I gave you 3 picks in the video, so you could have won a ton of money if you tailed me there. In this video, I'm going to give you Gordon Hayward over 37, and another guy is going to be Bradley Beal again. Only a 44 projection. But we see that Russell Westbrook, it is the second leg of a back-to-back, so Bradley Beal should be out there with massive rates. When we start talking about the Wizards, you'll see why I love Bradley Beal a ton today. But 44, this projection is just entirely too low. I'm going to take the over on him and Gordon Hayward over here on PrizePicks. And if you guys want to help me out, the best possible way, outside of subscribing and joining all my stuff for free, is to sign up and deposit using code Taylor, TAYLOR. Helps pay the bills, and I think it's one of the better sites to play on right now. You'll receive a 100% match bonus as well if you guys use my code, and then I'll give you my free plays in the Discord and in the live streams, and of course in this video like I am doing right now. So it's a good time over here. All you have to do is project the overs and unders like a parlay system of their projections, and so I think there's a lot of flaws a lot of the time, and then when players are missing, you can go over here and gain an edge because they take a while to update the projections. But yeah, so that's it with that game. Move over to the Phoenix Suns and the Indiana Pacers. 215 over under. Pacers are 3.5 point favorites. The Suns, they're healthy right now, so I'm not really interested in any of these guys outside of Chris Paul. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, their rates have completely plummeted playing next to Chris Paul. Very good basketball team, but when it comes to fantasy terms, they're just not nearly as great as they used to be. Chris Paul, on the other hand, 7.1K I think is a bit too cheap for him. He has a 20.6% usage rating, 8.8 total rebound percentage, 42.6 assist percentage, averaging 1.08 fantasy points per minute. And my only problem with him at the beginning of the year was that he wasn't playing enough minutes. But we just saw him play 38 minutes. Granted, it was yesterday, so this is the second leg of a back-to-back, so I don't expect him to play 38 minutes. But if he's playing 34, 36 minutes with those rates, I like him quite a bit at 7.1K. Indiana Pacers, some of my favorite plays on the day. And as I went along the slate, it looks like they're going to be a bit under-owned. But TJ Warren, Jeremy Lamb, Goga Bitadze, they are all out. Doug McDermott is questionable. If he does indeed miss, it's going to boost the minutes of Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday has, in the absence of TJ Warren, has been coming off the bench, closing the game, playing over 30 minutes, has been a pretty solid play. If McDermott is out, this secures that even more. But Domantas Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon are really the 2 guys I want to talk about. Both of them are playing 37.1 minutes per game, but Sabonis, a 23.8% use rating, 17.8 total rebound percentage, 25.6 assist percentage, averaging 1.24 fantasy points per minute. Malcolm Brogdon, rates are a bit lower, but averaging 1.19 fantasy points per minute. The thing with Malcolm Brogdon is that his true shooting percentage is up to 63.4% this year as opposed to 54.1% last year, which was a career low. But the year before that, he had a 61.4% true shooting percentage. So maybe he's just reverting to what he should be in the 60% true shooting range. So if he's reverting to that, this price tag is more than fine. People are going to be scared off of it, but he could definitely pay that off with given his current rates, especially without TJ Warren. In the amount of minutes that he's playing, he's a better play in my opinion over on FanDuel at a similar price tag, but over here on FanDuel, 8.4K is cheaper than 8.4K over on DraftKings. Move over to the Miami Heat versus the Washington Wizards. A 230 over under. This game should be super fast. Heat are 6.5 point favorites. The Heat, they're super healthy right now, but they are facing a Washington team that have the highest pace in the league, the second worst defensive rating in the league. So very good matchup, and you guys want to be targeting guys against the Washington Wizards. Jimmy Butler's only 7.4K. I think that he's a really good play, but anybody in the rotation are pretty solid plays like Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic, even off the bench. I think are all great plays. Kelly Olynyk, he is 5.3K. They've been raising his price. He's been starting the last couple of games, but he only played 21 minutes last game, so it's hard to trust his minutes here, but he could absolutely destroy this team. if he plays 28, 30 minutes. But at 5.3K, I don't know if I trust him with his minutes being so unstable. I'm moving to the Washington Wizards. Russell Westbrook should follow the trend and miss this game. He has been resting on the second leg of back-to-backs, which this is the second leg of a back-to-back. And then it was just announced that he was questionable with a hamstring injury right before I started recording this. So I'm going to assume that Russell Westbrook is out. And then Bradley Beal, without Westbrook on the court this year, which is a pretty big sample size because they stagger the minutes so much. A 41.4% usage rating, 9.9 total rebound percentage, 25.8 assist percentage, averaging 1.63 fantasy points per minute. 9.7K might be too cheap for him. If this game is competitive, like Vegas indicates it will be, I mean, he should really just destroy this price tag. And again, on Prize Picks, it's a ridiculous price. He should easily hit the over on that projection of 44. I have him up around 50. Should be playing big minutes, and he's been playing so well. I think he does keep this game close. And then guys like Davis Bertans, Rui Hachimura, they're off their minutes limit, and without Westbrook, I think they should lean on them more offensively, and they are only 4.5, 4.8K. They should play over 30 minutes. Now, Bertans is a bit shooting dependent, but he is probably the best three-point shooter in the entire NBA, so I'm fine with getting a ton of pieces from these cheap Washington values. And then Ish Smith or Raul Neto will likely start for Westbrook. I think they're both decent plays. We saw last game that they each only played around 21 minutes. But really, when either of them, as long as Bradley Beal is on the court, he's going to be the guy running the offense. So a lot of people are going to be going to Neto and Ish Smith. I would much rather pay up a little bit more and get to Bertans, Hachimura, where I know for a fact that I'm going to get 30 plus minutes out of them. That's one way I'm going to gain my edge today. Move over to the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Milwaukee Bucks at 222 over-under. Bucks are 12.5 point favorites. So this game is projected to somewhat blow out. But we'll start with the Cavaliers. And so that's going to lower the ownership of a lot of these guys, which make them even better GPP plays because everybody's going to be under the assumption that this game blows out. I mean, we just saw this Milwaukee team get blown out by the New York Knicks not too long ago. So, I mean, anything can happen in the NBA right now, especially this season. The season's been wild when it comes to blowouts. So this game very well could be competitive. And this team is very, very short-handed. So they are going to play like 38, 40 minutes. A lot of these guys like Cedi Osmond, Larry Nance. But Kevin Love, Darius Garland, Kevin Porter Jr., Dante Exum, Matthew Dellavedova, Dylan Windler, all these guys are rotation players and key players on this team, and they are out. Colin Sexton is questionable. He missed last game, and actually he just missed shoot around this morning. So it's looking like he might not play again. So Damian Dotson will likely start for him. Isaac Okoro is 3.9K. He played 40 minutes last game. We'll likely see that again, even if this game blows out, just because they are so short-handed, and they'll play Okoro in blowouts. But if this game stays competitive, Andre Drummond, Cedi Osman, great plays. Cedi Osman, who we know we were all over him last time, he runs the offense with Exum and Garland off the court. He has a team-high 30.7 assist percentage when those guys are off the court. In the 3 games that those guys have been out, he has played 38 minutes in two of the games. In the other game, he played 33 minutes, but looks like he was on pace to play 38 minutes, but the game ended up blowing out, and he had foul trouble. And then Andre Drummond, with all of these players out since the beginning of last year, a 34.9% usage rating, 25.2 total rebound percentage, 16.7 assist percentage, averaging 1.35 fantasy points per minute, and he's only 8.7K. And then Colin Sexton, if he does indeed play, he's going to be a pretty solid play. He's going to play upwards of 40 minutes with a 30% usage rating. I move over to the Milwaukee Bucks. Torrey Craig is out. Pat Connaughton is questionable. Like I said, guys, if this game is competitive, these guys are going to play big minutes. They've played competitive games 4 times this year. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, Middleton, they've played 36, 38 minutes. Same with Drew Holiday. Brook Lopez should play 30, 32 minutes in competitive games. Dante DiVincenzo has averaged 30 fantasy points in all of his competitive games. He's only 5.1K. So all these guys are pretty solid plays, but I'll leave it for GPP. If you guys do think this game stays close, they are all great plays. Move over to the San Antonio Spurs versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. A 234 over-under. Spurs are -5 favorites. Yeah, these aren't the Spurs of old. They are getting much, much faster, and this game should be super high pace. No defense whatsoever on either side. Derek White, Drew Eubanks are both out. After a slow start, LaMarcus Aldridge, he leads the team in usage now after a very, very slow start with a 25.6% usage rating in the 2 games since injury. He has a 30.9% usage rating in one game and then a 24.6% usage rating in the other game. He's shooting a crazy amount of 3-pointers, which just raises the ceiling of himself. So I like LaMarcus Aldridge. I think he's a fine play, but with him being back and him being so active on the court, it really takes away from DeMar DeRozan, Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, because these guys are priced up as if LaMarcus Aldridge is still out. So when LaMarcus Aldridge was out, they started playing really, really well because they had bigger roles, and so they raised their price, and they haven't brought the price back down with LaMarcus Aldridge back. So I'm not really interested in these other guys. Now move over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So this is something we're going to really have to monitor. Josh Okogie is out, but Karl-Anthony Towns is questionable. So if he's in, he's probably going to be limited. But if he's out, Naz Reid, Ed Davis, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, they just eat into each other's minutes way too much. And then the forwards, they just run, and the wing players, they just split minutes way too much for me to be interested in anyone on this team outside of maybe D'Angelo Russell, who has crazy rates without Karl-Anthony Towns on the floor. This year he has a 29.5% usage rating, 32.4 assist percentage, averaging 1.18 fantasy points per minute, and should play around 36 minutes in a really, really competitive game against the Spurs. So if Towns misses, D'Angelo Russell, 8.1K. People are not going to play him again. He was going to break the slate again just that last game, but the game ended up blowing out. So he would have broke the slate 2 games in a row. But he's going to be unowned and again, which is going to be absolutely crazy to me. Move over to the Orlando Magic and the Dallas Mavericks. A 217 over-under. Mavericks are 5.5-point favorites. So Markelle Fultz, he's out for the year, unfortunately. I really like that guy. Sucks that he's out with a torn ACL. Michael Carter-Williams is also out. Evan Fournier is questionable. So Cole Anthony should start again, but not play any more than 30 minutes. We saw that we got off of him to a certain extent. I got off of him. I still played him in some places, but when we got news that he wasn't going to play the 32 minutes, that 32 minutes that he played in Markelle Fultz first game out, was too much for him. I was instantly scared off of him, and he really only got there because of blowout. He's struggled mightily playing next to the starters, and it's really Nikola Vucevic who runs this team. With Markelle Fultz off the court, Vucevic has a 27.1% usage rating, 17.4 total rebound percentage, 27.8 assist percentage, which leads the team, averaging 1.34 fantasy points per minute. He's only 8.8K, should play big minutes. Played 30 minutes yesterday, but the game did blow out. This game is expected to be close, especially with how shorthanded this Dallas Mavericks team is. The offense is pretty much completely going to be running through Nikola Vucevic. Aaron Gordon missed last game, going to be starting this game. But it seems like he's going to continue to be on that minutes limit, so it's hard to pay up for him at 6.8K. And then Terrence Ross is the guy that I'm interested in. They did raise his price to 6.4K over here. He's a lot cheaper on FanDuel. But with Markelle Fultz off the court this year in a pretty large sample size, he has a 31.5% usage rating, averaging 1.19 fantasy points per minute. His minutes have been down the last 2 games due to blowout and foul trouble, but he should play 31 minutes on a normal basis, and so he could be a slate breaker. I don't mind going to Terrence Ross in tournaments. And then Dallas Mavericks, they're just dealing with a plethora of these COVID protocol guys. Kristaps Porzingis is out, but now they're going to add Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jalen Brunson to the mix. Trey Burke should return. I'm expecting the starting lineup to be like Luka Doncic, Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr., Maxi Kleber, Willie Cauley-Stein, but I don't really know what's going on with the starting lineup. They might choose to bring Trey Burke off the bench to back up Luka Doncic as the backup point guard. But we're really going to have to wait and see. Unfortunately, this game starts an hour and a half after lock, so Gonna have to leave some spots open so we can adjust. But Luka Doncic, I mean, I'm just gonna keep going back to this guy. He is my favorite pay up option on the slate. 37.9% usage rating, 15.2 total rebound percentage, 44.8 assist percentage, averaging 1.54 fantasy points per minute. I absolutely love him today. Actually, I take that back. I do like guys like Bradley Beal, Nikola Vucevic in that 8 to 9K range a bit more. But if I'm like really spending up and I'm choosing between him and Giannis, I'm probably going to go with Luka Doncic here because he's going to be leaned on heavily. And then these value guys, Kleber, Willie Cauley-Stein, they're 4.3K, 4K. They're going to play massive minutes today because Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, these are two of the top three most played guys on this Dallas Mavericks team. They were playing like 36 plus minutes a game. Jalen Brunson was playing big minutes as of late. And then Boban Marjanovic, typically when the Mavericks are shorthanded, he will enter the rotation just because, just for offense off the bench. And so if he could play like 15, 16 minutes at the bare minimum, now it isn't a guarantee that he even plays or how much he plays, but I just wanted to mention that when they are shorthanded, they'll use him for offense off the bench. And at minimum price, I think he's a very solid GPP play, and I will have a bit of him today. But really need to see what the starting lineup ends up being to see where I'm going with that. Go over to the last game of the slate, and it is a banger. 236.5 over under. Trailblazers are 6-point favorites. Zach Collins is out, but it looks like Jusuf Nurkic. It looks like we finally got this figured out. In games that are competitive and he's out of foul trouble, it looks like Nurkic is on pace to play around 30 minutes, and at 6.5K, it's just way too cheap for him. He averages 1.1 fantasy points per minute. He's finally beating out Enes Kanter in the rotation. And then Blazers are staggering McCollum and Lillard's minutes more than ever this year. So it's leading them to play massive minutes, and whoever's out there on the court is going to be running the offense. Lillard, a 29.9% usage rating, 29.9 assist percentage, averaging 1.33 fantasy points per minute. CJ McCollum, a 28.6% usage rating, 25.6 assist percentage, averaging 1.32 fantasy points per minute. So I like both of these guys. I'm fine with going with either of them. I think it slowly but surely goes to Lillard's favor, but the fact that they're staggering the minutes so much, CJ McCollum is definitely worth a play at 8.6K. He's pretty solid. And then the rest of the team, when they're healthy, they're really just running whoever has the hottest hand and playing the best. And so I'm not really interested in anybody else in this team outside of Nurkic, McCollum, and Lillard. And then move over to the Sacramento Kings. This team is healthy, but De'Aaron Fox, it is the second leg of a back-to-back. He was questionable yesterday, a game-time decision. Ended up playing, but he was limited. His minutes were limited, so not really sure what they're doing with him, but I know I'm not going to be playing him, and I'm going to temper my expectations on Tyrese Halliburton because I don't know how much he's going to play, because if De'Aaron Fox ends up being a full go, Halliburton might only play low 20s minutes. But if we get word that he's limited again, Tyrese Halliburton, definitely a fine play at 5.8K. And then Hassan Whiteside is completely out of the rotation. So Rashawn Holmes, Marvin Bagley seem like they're locked in to play around 30 minutes in competitive games. So 6K, 6.3K, both of them are pretty solid plays. And then Buddy Hield, I wanted to mention on FanDuel, I think it is entirely too cheap. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. 22 minutes and long. We're going to get to 23 minutes. If you guys have made it to the end of the video, let me know. Shout out to you guys. But I appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you in the live stream. See you in the Discord. Make sure to join all the links below. That really helps me out more than you know. Also, join on PrizePicks if you guys haven't already. A good time over there. Use code Taylor, Taylor, when signing up. Link is also in the description. But yeah, best of luck today. And until next time, peace.